Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of The Breeze. Breezeway Productions The Breeze, where we bring you the latest in independent films and the latest movies that are coming out for all to see. And we are excited to have director Joshua Zeman here today with us to talk about his film, The Loneliest Whale, The Search for 52. How are you, Josh?
Good. Thanks for having me, Alex.
Right on. Thanks for being on the show. And tell us a little bit about The Loneliest Whale, The Search for 52.
Basically, it's a story about a whale that scientists first discovered on a bunch of classified hydrophones in the ocean during the Cold War, or that were established during the Cold War. And then when the Berlin Wall fell, they opened up that program to scientists. And from that, they were basically recording or they were listening for animal calls, whale songs specifically, to basically figure out how many whales there were out there in the ocean. And they heard this very mysterious sound. They didn't know what it was. They thought it might be a submarine. It was at a frequency of 52 hertz. And it turns out that a scientist from Hui discovered or theorized that he thought it was a whale calling out at a frequency not made by any other whale. Whales usually in that area call out at low frequencies like blues and fins or humpbacks that are really high.
Yeah.
But he thought it was a whale. The story of the loneliest whale, as they called the scientists kind of called it, spread after an article by Andy Revkin in the New York Times, and it became a meme, basically rolling around the earth about this lonely whale. And it's such a sad story about a whale swimming at the oceans, calling out, and basically never being heard.
Yeah.
I wanted to kind of understand more about that story, why that story was so sticky, why I was affected by that story. And in doing so, we just discovered this wonderful kind of relationship between ourselves and whales, and we actually got to go out on an expedition to go find 52.
Yeah, what an endeavor. You rallied some of like the greatest minds that work within the field of the oceans and marine biology or animal biology rather in the
Yeah.
oceans. And how did you gather this team of professionals that have been doing it for years with the latest technology and really just, going out on this journey?
I think they felt sorry for me. They thought I was just so crazy. But then again, it's so crazy it just might work. And
Sure.
so, we got a Kickstarter launched. 3,800 people came in, gave us $400,000. We had the help of Adrian Grenier, our executive producer, and then DiCaprio came in and put some money in. And from that, we were able to. Still can't believe that I was able to convince these scientists to go out, just because who am I? I'm nobody. But I think this is an interesting opportunity for them. It wasn't like one of the. If you watch the film, you'll see it's like a very indie expedition. I'm an indie filmmaker. We only had $400,000.
Right.
But I think it was cool because these scientists could try things that they didn't have the pressure of this huge Nat Geo expedition. They could go out and they could try things. And sometimes like the best science comes from just seeing if it can work and kind of throwing caution to the wind. And I think that allowed for us to really get some great science out there and kind of really get close and intimate with these whales.
Yeah, I really loved a lot of the characters that you brought onto it. The one guy who's playing clarinet with the whales while he's sitting out there, he's like, yeah, I just make music with them, and he's playing and jamming and moving them in with music. I was like, this guy is wild. So I thought that was really awesome to see. But I wanted to talk a little bit more about the life of the film. I remember a couple of years back, this did screen at Sundance, I believe.
We had a party at Sundance. It screened a couple.
Oh, okay.
There were a couple different iterations of the film, and we had some work in progress screenings. But I also do a lot of true crime, so I was off like making a show, and then I'd come back and work on the edit, and then go make another show and come back. So it took a long time, like 10 years, to make the film.
Yeah, and I know that also you go over the course of time from the beginning to the end. There's some lapses because you have to gather the research. You have a lot of the different information gathering buoys that are recording things, and then you find out about what's going on, where it takes a lot of work and time and effort to do that. Also, some beautiful cinematography that was captured, a lot of the drone shots, and then how you're capturing the footage on the whale and when you're like going from place to place. Did you have like a blueprint for that, or you just like knew that technology and was like, let's hope that we can do this?
No, that's the whole thing. Like, when we got to the scientists, they're like, okay, you do understand we've never done this before.
Oh wow.
And I'm like, okay, that's cool, I hope. And like even the drones weren't even part of it. Like suddenly, like this, like he had been out one other time with the drones, but like we got our drone guys, and suddenly it was a really cool experience because there were 22 of us on this really small boat out in the middle of the ocean. And at some point, we all gelled as this team, and suddenly the scientists were like to the filmmakers, like, "You can help us do better science," and we're like, "Totally,"
Yeah.
like that was our dream, And they're like, "Can you get the drone over the whale? We're gonna record it calling, and if we could timestamp it at the same time with the GPS coordinates, that we can know for the first time that we're actually recording a singing whale," and like it suddenly like turned into like such a cool and interesting thing because like we were all just really working towards trying to make this cool technology happen. I mean, you're talking about, again, they had never done this before. We were
Right.
using antiquated sonobuoys from the Navy, and a guy, his tags, and it was just totally cool and kind of like a heist film a little bit in a way, like trying to like put all these different things together and try and do it. And like it was happening as we were filming, and that was really exciting in terms
Yeah.
of being able to capture science.
Yeah, you were going off of the work that was done from people about like 20, 30 years ago and then how they tracked the whale for about
Yeah.
12 years and then it fell off. And now you have these new advancements so you can do the best that you can with it. So you picked up the work from other scientists to continue moving it forward. So now you can really understand how whales are working. And then you also went back a little bit and then talked about some of the history of the world and whales and
Yeah.
whaling, and then how that they almost were extinct, and then because of the world being in a revolutionary state, how it really slowed down. That was very emotional. Did you have that originally when you were spanning it out to do a little bit of backstory about how whales have fit in with our world?
Well, I don't. You can't really talk about whales without talking about our relationship with whales, and that relationship is in most part to the fact that we almost completely wiped them off the face of the earth. Human beings are a great species, and
Mhm.
so it's so interesting because the reason we stopped them, we didn't want to save whales until we heard them sing. So we can't talk about a whale that has a unique call and a unique song without talking about Songs of the Humpback Whale, this kind of revolutionary album that, was like 62 on the charts. It's
Oh
crazy
yeah,
that people would like, go home, buy it, drop acid and put on their headphones and just bug out for 5 hours, And
oh
so
yeah,
it was
that's
really
right.
it's really interesting to see how suddenly people listen and they're like, "Oh my God, what kind of creature makes this song? It's more emotional than we could ever do." And that suddenly they're like, "Oh my God, we're killing these animals." And so Songs of the Humpback Whale basically jump-started the Save the Whales movement. Also Greenpeace, which in turn led to the green revolution that we're going through now, which we really need to stop climate change. So it's really interesting that you could see this thread that goes through and from whale song.
Yeah. This is true. This is a battle that still goes on today. We've worked with the Sea Shepherd organization, which are known for fighting off whaling ships that
Right.
are still trying to go out and slaughter whales and use their parts, etc., which is terrible. But the fight goes on for the preservation of the species of our planet, and then also to learn more about them. Obviously, there's still parts of the ocean that we haven't explored, and that there's things on this world that we don't yet fully understand. And you ended it very nicely with some really great quotes about where we're going, where we are, and what is we are having to learn. So I thought that the film was wonderful, and I
Oh,
hope that
thanks.
our audience will be able to check it out. The Loneliest Whale: The Search for B-52. It's a great documentary, and we hope that everyone's able to check it out. And Josh, I want to thank you for taking the time to speak with us today about your film.
Of course, my pleasure. And everybody, you can reach out Twitter at JOSHZEMAN. My DMs are open and we can talk about whales.
Beautiful, awesome, thank you. Hope everybody checks it out.
Thank you.